Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's ETA Prime back here again. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Red Dead Redemption, running on a few different devices. I've got an iPad, an iPhone, and an Android device. This has always been one of my favorite games, and I've burned up at least one Xbox 360 playing it back in the day, and I'm really glad that we've got it on mobile. But one thing that I really wanted to test this on was a super cheap Android phone. This is a $25 phone that I recently picked up during Black Friday from Walmart. Unfortunately, I cannot get it installed from Google Play, and if I try to sideload it, it just doesn't work. I've tried a couple other lower end devices like Snapdragon 865 and below. Fortunately, I just can't get it working over there. I'm going to be testing on the RedMagic 11 Pro. I've got an iPhone 17 Pro, and I've also got a 10th gen iPad. So it's not a high-end iPad by any means. It's got a A14 Bionic chip, and that's the first device that I want to test it on here. So let's go ahead and jump over there now. For this setup, I'm going to be using an Xbox controller connected over Bluetooth. And again, we've got the 10th gen iPad. It's the 64 gig model, so it's not the high-end model that they sold that year. It actually runs pretty smoothly. On iOS and Android, there's two different frame rate options. Unfortunately, for this lower-end A14 chip, we don't have the extra frame rate option. So if we go to display, we've got the normal stuff: brightness, contrast, saturation. Moving all the way down to the bottom, we've also got our rendering scale and motion blur. On higher end devices, we will find a fidelity mode and a performance mode. But I want to show you in resolution scale, we can take this way down and it's basically unplayable like this. But this would help out if in the future we can get this installed on lower end devices. We can lower that resolution scale to get better performance. It's at 30 FPS no matter what I do here on this iPad. And the way I run it is 100% resolution scale with motion blur off. And I've already put a lot of time into this game on mobile, be it iOS and Android. If you have both devices and you've got that same Netflix account, your saves will transfer over, so that's really good. If you're playing on iOS, you can swap right back over to Android and you'll be right at that same spot. This is an older save here, just to give you a feel for everything. And on this A14 iPad at 30 FPS, it feels good with an Xbox controller. You can also use touchscreen controls, but I'm personally not a big fan of those, so I just connected a physical controller over Bluetooth here. And picking one of these A14 iPads up, used or refurbished, is actually pretty cheap over on Amazon. Just note that it will run, but we don't get all of the settings that we do with higher end devices. And that's the next thing I want to take a look at. For this, I'm moving over to the RedMagic 11 Pro. This is a really powerful Android phone. It's actually water cooled. It's got a real water cooling system built in and a built-in cooling fan. It's powered by the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, so we've got a top-of-the-line Snapdragon chip here, and you can see up at the top, I do have a frame counter on screen. This phone is just really easy to record the screen on using game capture, so I'm not using any CPU to do this. We're using all the power for this, but don't get me wrong, with this Snapdragon 8 Elite, we could record the screen and play this game at full speed also. Like I mentioned, with higher-end devices, we've got some more display settings. And I do wish we had more here, especially on a device like this or, a higher-end Samsung device. So if we move all the way down, you can see we've now got a graphics mode, fidelity, and performance. I'm going to performance. I also like to turn motion blur off. You can leave it on if you want to. But in performance mode, it's going to take the graphics down just a bit. It is a little noticeable, especially with the game capture connected like this. But it's going to take our frame rate up to 40 FPS. And this is kind of the same across the board with Android devices and iOS devices. So we're at 40 FPS now, and I really do wish that they would add a 60 FPS mode. There's no doubt that this phone could run this game at 60 FPS with the settings we have now. Performance, I think, should have been 60 on the higher end devices like this, and something like the iPhone 17 Pro Max. We've got more than enough power to run a game like this at 60 FPS. 40 does feel a bit smoother, but I've noticed it kind of feels a little smoother over on iOS. So for Android devices that support it, I've been leaving it in fidelity mode. And again, I don't like motion blur, so I turn it off, but you could keep it on if you want to. And it's just a nice experience on a mobile device. I mean, I think they did a pretty decent job with this game here. Again, it would be nice to have a couple more graphic settings to mess with or even a higher frame rate. But for now, I don't mind playing this at 30 FPS. And the day the game launched, I was taking a trip to New York for a few days. I usually carry a handheld with me, be it the ROG Ally or something like that. I skipped that altogether, just took my phone and a mobile controller so I could play this on the plane. The final device I wanted to take a look at is kind of a no-brainer. It's going to run great on this one, or even the iPhone 17 non-Pro models, or whatever they have now. So this is the iPhone 17 Pro Max. It's got the Apple A19 Pro chip. And this is one of those games that I think already should have had that higher frame rate. We should be able to enable it. The only thing we can do here is the same thing we did over on Android. So from our options, we'll go to display. All the way down at the bottom, got our graphics mode. We'll go to performance here. We're going to keep that resolution scale at 100%. And again, I'll disable motion blur here. Takes the graphics down just a little bit. It kind of feels like it might be using some type of scaling, like an FSR equivalent on iOS, but that does allow us to get that higher frame rate. And I've noticed playing on the iPhone 17 Pro Max versus something like the Galaxy S25 Ultra, in performance mode, this does feel a bit smoother. It's still only running at 40 FPS, but optimizations are here for iOS and this chipset that they really can't do for every single Android device, and that's why most of the time we see these games run a bit better over on iOS than they do on Android. But for this one here, I've been running in fidelity mode, motion blur off, 100% resolution scale, and the game looks great on the built-in display here. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it. If you've got a Netflix account, definitely try this out. If you've never played the game before, give it a chance. Play through it for a couple hours. It might feel a bit slow at first, but it is one of the best games ever made for sure. I figured I'd just make a quick video because I was super excited about this, but I'd love to know what device you're running this on. If you've tested it on a different Android device than you saw in this video, let me know how it's running in the comments below. But that's it for this one. Like always, thanks for watching.